Meghan Markle, she's everywhere, right?
It's for sure.
Headlines, you name it. But what's the real story? You guys wanted us to do a deep dive on her management style.
Yeah, we got a lot of requests for this one.
We did. So we dug up some interesting stuff, like one article in the Daily Beast. That really stood out.
Yeah, it kind of goes against a lot of what we've been hearing.
Right. Totally different picture.
It is.
So, like, recently there have been all these positive stories, right,
Nice.
about Meghan's leadership
Exactly.
and how she manages people.
Yeah, and some of the staff, like in interviews they've done, they've described her as like nurturing.
Really?
Yeah.
Nurturing.
Using terms like watering seeds.
Watering seeds.
Yeah, to describe her leadership.
Wow. That's quite the image.
I mean, yeah.
When I think of watering seeds, I think of, like, patience, care.
Exactly.
But then you read this Daily Beast article,
Yeah.
and they're using words like demon.
Psycho.
Yeah.
Strong words.
Strong words. That's a pretty stark contrast.
It is. It makes you wonder where, like, how these two totally different perceptions even come about.
Exactly. So to, like, really get into this, we have to look at specific situations, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we have to think about, like, the context.
Right, the context. Okay. Well, the Daily Beast article, they had a few interesting stories. One that stuck out was about a florist
Oh, yeah.
who had designed a bouquet for Meghan, and apparently she was, like, screaming at this florist.
Yeah, and it seemed like a pretty, like, minor thing from what they were saying.
Right. It wasn't like a huge deal. And it makes you wonder, if she's trying to project this image of a supportive leader, how does this fit in?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, it just highlights that disconnect that can happen sometimes between, like, the public image
Yeah.
and what's going on privately.
Right. So was this like a one-time thing? Or is there more to it? Like, are there other concerns about the work environment there?
Well, this is where Jason Nauf comes in, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he Harry and Meghan's press secretary?
Yeah, he was. And he actually filed a formal complaint
He did.
about Meghan's behavior
Wow. Who'd he complain to?
to Prince William's office, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and what did he say? What were the complaints?
So now he claimed that Meghan had, like, forced out 2 personal assistants.
Oh, wow. And that she was, like, undermining the confidence of a third staff member.
Wow. And this is, like, a formal complaint. This isn't just like,
No. It was serious.
he used the term in the complaint, unacceptable behavior.
Right.
That's pretty strong.
It is, yeah. It
Yeah.
implies something beyond, like, your everyday disagreements at work.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So what did Meghan have to say about all this?
Well, her team denied everything. They said these allegations were just not true.
Okay.
And they also questioned the timing of the complaint.
How so?
Well, it was leaked, right?
Okay.
The press. And it just so happened to be right before Meghan's big interview with Oprah.
Oh, right. Right.
So they were basically saying, look, this is just a smear campaign.
Trying to make her look bad.
Exactly.
It's like, who do you believe, right?
It's tough.
Yeah.
Because you got these two totally different sides, and it's hard to know what actually happened.
Yeah, it's messy.
It is. It's not just about saying one side's right and one side's wrong.
Yeah,
It's way more complicated than that.
of course. I mean, we're talking about real people here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody's got their own perspective, you know what I mean?
Right.
What one person sees as demanding, somebody else might just see as, like, high standards.
Sure.
And we can't forget about the pressure she's under. I mean, can you imagine the public eye all the time?
It's got to be tough, being in that royal family.
Exactly. That kind of scrutiny, 24/7, that's got to play a role too.
Absolutely. Okay, so where do we even go from here? We've got these conflicting stories. We've got people's perceptions.
Right, it's a lot. I mean, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, right?
Probably.
We just have to kind of piece it all together.
So how do we do that?
Well, I think it's helpful to look at what other people who worked with Meghan have said, both good and bad.
Okay.
Try to see if there are any patterns.
To get a more complete picture.
Exactly. And I did find a few other accounts that I thought were interesting.
Really?
Yeah. Particularly some of the things that Harry's former chief of staff said, Josh Kettler.
Okay.
There are a couple of others, too. And, it's interesting because on the surface, they seem really positive, their comments. But then when you really look at them, there are some things that make you wonder.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What did they say, Josh Kettler? Right. Wasn't he, like, Harry's right-hand man?
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
Chief of staff. And you know what? His statement about working with them was actually
Yeah.
really positive. Yeah, he talked about how dedicated they were to their work, like their work ethic.
Huh.
Really admired that.
But he was only there for, like, 3 months, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. He had a really short run, 3 months and he was out.
So that's a little strange, right?
It kind of makes you wonder, right? Because on the surface, it's like, oh, everything's great. They work hard. But then he leaves so quickly.
Exactly.
Just, I don't know, raises some eyebrows.
It does. Okay, what about these other staff? The ones you mentioned before?
Oh, right. They also said good things, but it was all very, how do I put it?
Vague.
Vague, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they talked about Harry and Meghan's commitment, all that, but nothing specific.
About their actual management.
Exactly. It was
Yeah.
like they were almost afraid to say too much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's not like you just go out and criticize someone like Meghan Markle.
Right. There could be consequences.
Okay, so we've got all this. We've gone through it all. And it's a lot. Conflicting stories, pressure, everything. But can someone actually be both? Like, can they be the difficult boss and also be a supportive leader?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's something that goes way beyond just Meghan Markle. It's about leadership in general.
Right.
And honestly, I think it's definitely possible.
Really? How so?
Think about it. A good leader, they're going to have high standards. They're going to push their team. Sometimes that means being tough.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean they can't also be there to support them, to offer guidance, to want them to succeed genuinely. Those things aren't mutually exclusive.
I guess it's about finding that balance, right?
Exactly.
Being demanding but respectful.
It's a tightrope. And honestly, with Meghan,
Yeah,
we only see a tiny part of the whole picture.
that's so true.
Right. It's all these little glimpses, these snippets, but we're missing the full context.
Exactly. Well, this has been really interesting. It seems like with Meghan's management style, there's no easy answer.
Nope.
It's complicated. It reminds us that, especially with something like this, it's never black and white. People are complex.
Couldn't have said it better myself.